Greetings and welcome to the Guiding Needle Acupuncture video blog. My name's Thomas. I'd like to introduce and explain the concept of the three treasures, which are Jing, Qi, and Shen. Maximize your human potential and protect your life. How the three treasures can be depleted through physical, chemical, and emotional stress, and what you can do to prevent that and protect your three treasures. So I'd like to begin by demonstrating with analogy of a candle in describing the three treasures, taking a look at Jing. So the wax of the candle is representing Jing here. And essentially this is the material basis of life. So we'll take a look, we call this the superior ultimate treasure. Your inherited health, human genome, biologically active materials, all nutrients, hormones, neurotransmitters, neurochemicals, enzymes, immune cells, reproductive substances, refined substances that mediate vitality. Now I'd like to introduce Qi, which is the second treasure. So in order to metabolize and create cellular energy, adenosine triphosphate, ATP, we require oxygen. So what I'm going to be using is the flame on the candle wick, which is consuming oxygen in order to metabolize the candle wax. Alright, so now we can see the importance of vital air. So the flame represents Qi, vital air, oxygen, vital substance that supports all of life's functional activities and physical manifestations. Now, what happens if I inhibit the amounts of oxygen that the candle wick is exposed to? So if I repress that, this could be inhibiting lung capacity. So for example, if a person was experiencing emotion of sadness, sadness affects the lung and large intestine function according to the 5-element theory. So if one has tension and weakness of the lung function, it will inhibit lung capacity and the amount of oxygen that's received, as well as if a person has excessive tension in their latissimus dorsi muscles, back tension, a rib cage, the intercostal muscles, that can also affect the ability to breathe deeply and enhance lung capacity when there's muscle tension. So what I'm using now is a mason jar, and I'll place that over the candle so that we can see what happens when we suppress oxygen to prevent metabolism. And we'll see that the candle flame will actually become smaller and smaller, and eventually it will actually go out. There, now it just went out. So that's what happens when the oxygen is inhibited. So that's a Qi deficiency, when we inhibit oxygen and we reduce metabolism. Now I'm going to light up the Jing. Alright, and here we go. So all fired up again. Now what happens if we overconsume, if we overwork, overplay, have excessive sexual activity and deplete our Jing quicker? It's equivalent to increasing the size of the flame. So if I double up the flame, then I'm consuming Jing at twice the rate. See what happens? Now I've got quite the flame, so I am definitely increasing the amount of Qi and oxygen consumption, but I'm depleting Jing at twice the speed. So this is the overwork, lack of sleep type of individual. They are the ones that are depleting their Jing at twice the speed, and when that happens, that decreases the lifespan, because Jing is essentially related to longevity, and that is something to preserve and cultivate, not squander. Okay, so now we've explained so far what happens when we have too much overconsumption and what happens when we don't have enough. So excess and deficiency. So we started with the deficiency and the candle flame went out, and then we showed what excess does. It consumes Jing at twice the rate. Now, the third treasure is Shen, which is spirit. The candle light is representing the vitality. Alright, so the candle light, Shen, that aspect of self that you extend in order to discover and manifest potential, your vitality and light, your electromagnetic field that you share with the world. Shen is the seat of your emotions. So again, going back to the emotion of sadness, so when one is feeling grieving and loss and sadness, that's repressing the lung function and it inhibits the Shen. Okay, so take away the flame and you take away the vitality, the Shen becomes weakened. Okay, so there we go. That's the analogy of a candle describing the three treasures. And now I'd like to explain here quickly what is it that depletes Jing and what we can do to prevent Jing leakage and to maintain our integrity in this world that we live in. So it's the physical, chemical, emotional stresses that deplete Jing. And when we expend more than we can generate, that will deplete the Jing. And so we want to prevent Jing leakage. We want to preserve and cultivate as much as we possibly can. Let's take a look at physical stress, such as serious illness, traumatic injury, surgery, pathogenic invasion of virus, bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, parasites, chronic inflammation, over-exercise, overwork, overplay, essentially overstrain, overuse, excessive ejaculation, extreme environmental conditions of heat, cold, damp, dry. These are environmental stresses. Radiation, electromagnetic pollution, lack of restorative rest, lack of restorative sleep. All right, those are physical stressors. Let's take a look at emotional stress now. So examples include relationship stress, family stress, we call that the friggin' tribe. Occupational stress, suppressed, unresolved, ongoing emotions of resentment, frustration, anger, shock, worry, overthinking, sadness, grieving, and fear. So constant, ongoing emotional stress where it's repressed in the physiology will continue to consume energy and deplete the body further. Chemical stress such as toxins, neurotoxins, which are things such as genetically modified organisms, GMOs, denatured, processed toxic foods, toxins in the air, food, and water, so types of pollution. Radiation would also be a type of pollution. Pesticides, heavy metals like fluoride, mercury, aluminum. These are all types of neurotoxins, chemical stresses. Alright, so what do we do to protect our Jing and eliminate physical, chemical, emotional stress? Well, we need to obtain proper nerve supply free of subluxation. So we need an unimpeded blood supply. The body needs to be free of tension and enhanced with negative ion-rich blood. We need to restore and maintain our pH balance, which is relative to negative ionization. nutrient-rich, highly oxygenated blood circulation. And we can use acupuncture to modulate the peripheral and central nervous systems in order to create a biofeedback to release the tension and enhance blood oxygen and nutrition circulation. We'd like to obtain restorative, nutrient-rich, non-GMO food drink. We'd like to eliminate the parasites, yeast, mold, and fungus farms, I call them. We'd like to eliminate the foods that create yeast, mold, and fungus. So things like sugar and yeast, and we know that's in wine and beer. We'd like to use things such as Chinese herbal medicines to prevent Jing leakage and also to supply the vital nutrients so that the body can manufacture its own hormones, manufacture its own enzymes, manufacture its own resources of Jing. So we'd like to prevent Jing leakage. We'd like to enjoy regular restorative cultivation exercises such as Qigong, yoga, Tai Chi. We'd like to enjoy restorative sleep, so no graveyard schedules. We'd like to enhance deep meditation every day if possible. This is something that we can all use to resolve stresses in the physiology, to release deep-rooted trauma and stress out of the physiology. And that way we can go about life stress-free. We'd like to focus on healthy relationships and healthy boundaries to enjoy each day of life to the fullest. Now, for those interested in acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, cupping therapy, and Oriental medicine in general, you can take a look at my website, which is guidingneedleacupuncture.com, and schedule a complimentary consultation with me.